I think when William Shakespeare was writing Henry V, he thought of Edward from Twilight too, and how great of a character he would make in his play. Right? No? 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 Just me? Bad joke? Okay, bad joke. Let's review it. Hey guys, my name is Noah McClay, and I am Movie Guide 101, here to help guide you for the world of film and entertainment. Today we're going to be reviewing The King. Now, The King came out in 2019. I know that's weird to say because it's 2020. And it is a Netflix original film. You can go check it out now on Netflix. It stars Timothée Chalamet, Robert Pattinson, who I just mentioned in the beginning is Edward from Twilight, right? Joel Edgerton, Ben Mendelsohn, Sean Harris. It's directed by David Machode, who's an Australian filmmaker. The film is about King Henry V and his interesting and kind of compelling story. What makes it fascinating is that he did not want to be king initially. He was rebellious against his father. His father wanted his brother to be king, but his brother died in battle, and his father died a week later, and it kind of forced Henry to both grow up and have his version of being king. And the film deals with the struggle that Henry wants to be different from his father. He wants to be peaceful. His father was not a very good leader, and he really wants to change that. And by the end of the history books, Henry would become known as one of the greatest English kings of all time because of his victory over France in the war. And so he's trying to lead this peaceful life, and yet the country war between France and England is imminent. And so it's a really good contrast between the two. Now, when I saw the trailers, I thought what most people thought when they saw the trailers. This is going to be an action-filled, medieval, war-driven, Braveheart, Mel Gibson style, hoorah type of film. And well, it's really not. It's more of a period piece drama. And a lot of that, people don't realize, has to do with the fact that it's based on a Shakespeare play, Henry V. Now, what makes that interesting is the fact that Shakespeare takes his time with his plays. His plays are known as character-driven pieces. They're known as witty. They're known as with sharp scripts, but they're also known as character studies and looking at the characters and what their motivations are. And that leads me to what I think the King's greatest strength and weakness is the fact that the King takes its time. It does not rush through the film at all. And it makes for some really great dramatic moments and this really interesting character study of Henry V and what he's going through. And yet at the same time, the movie's 2 hours and 20 minutes long and it drags. I caught myself yawning at moments, and not because I was tired, though I've had a long day, but because the film really at moments has bad pacing. Now, any period piece type of drama about one individual character has to have at least a solid performance from its lead performer. And Timothée Chalamet as King Henry V is a bit more than solid. He's wonderful in the role. Timothée Chalamet is one of the greatest young actors today in Hollywood. He was in Call Me By Your Name. He was in Little Women, not Little Bird, Lady Bird. And he's really shown this ability as an actor to morph into a character. I loved his quiet persona. I love the fact that he didn't have to shout his lines when he wanted to be intimidating or when he wanted to show something. And his friendship with Falstad is one of the best parts of the film, who's played brilliantly by one of my favorite actors, Joel Edgerton. And their friendship really makes up the main part of the film's themes, which is the theme of peace versus war and what war does to a man. Because Henry starts off as this kind of immature, rebellious type, but once he becomes king, he wants to bring peace to the land. And with this war with France imminent and they have to go, he starts to change as a person. And Falstad, played by Edgerton, kind of sort of has to bring him back down to who he really is. And I find that dynamic in the film and the theme portrayed in it really fascinating. The rest of the cast is also pretty solid. I absolutely laughed multiple times during Robert Pattinson's performance, but not at the reasons I laughed at Twilight, but because of the fact that Pattinson's really good in the film. He's become a really good independent actor outside the Twilight movies. He really has, and he's a great villain foil to King Henry V in this film. Ultimately, there is one battle scene, and it is a terrific battle scene. It's a famous battle in the 100-Year War between France and Britain. I won't spoil who wins it, but you could probably take a pretty good guess considering how famous of a king King Henry is. But the battle scene itself is both brutal and fascinating to watch. The film looks nice and it's pretty well directed. I would say the film's biggest flaws are the fact that it's pacing. It's often too slow. It's often unfocused. At times, it kind of just lollygags over here and lollygags over here, and it doesn't ever feel like a concrete, just smooth ride through. And yet, The King gives a lot of great performances. If you're a fan of period dramas, if you're a fan of films that take your time with its characters and to show themes, I think you'll really find this one interesting. If you're a fan of just action and what I described in the beginning of the review, this may not be the movie for you, and that's okay. I'm going to give The King a 3 out of 5 stars. I think it's a perfectly fine movie. I enjoyed it. I had a good time with it. But I feel like it could have been better, and it's a bit underwhelming to me. I guess my expectations were too high. I still really enjoyed this film. Now, guys, I know a lot of you noticed I haven't really posted in a month. I've been very, very busy with school, but I'm going to make a pledge to start posting 2 times a week, and I'm going to hold myself to that. And the next film I'm going to review, if you come back next time, fingers crossed, is going to be Dolomite, which is also on Netflix. Guys, please be sure to hit the subscribe button and the like button. I really would appreciate it very much. I'm just getting started out. My name is Noah McClay, and I am Movie Guide 101, signing out.